Blessed be, my friends. I'm Elder Eliza from the Church of Life. There have been a number of people who have asked for proof that Jesus was trans. While I believed that him being born through parthenogenesis was enough proof in and of itself, that wasn't enough for some people. And for others, even if it literally says, "Here's Jesus, the transgender Son of God," in the Bible, they still wouldn't believe it. This video is for those who are open-minded enough to understand it. Jesus wants his true identity to be known. So make sure that you watch this full video and you'll see the proof that he wants the world to see. The proof that he left for us. When you think of Jesus, you probably envision this guy, white with a beard. Most Americans do, because of the Romans and Greeks, actually. They're the ones that started the bearded white guy thing. He was given a beard because Zeus, the king of gods or god of gods, in Greek mythology, had a beard. Jesus was supposed to be the top dog, so he got a beard. Most likely, he didn't even have a beard, since most ancient artwork depicts him without it. Makes you think. Let me take you on a journey. This is what Jesus could have looked like as a cisgender Middle Eastern man. Or this. While the Middle Eastern homeless refugee made sense, I learned that some people thought Jesus was trans, an AFAB person who identified as a man. So that led me to this idea here. When you remove the beard, he does look very feminine. And in older artwork, he is depicted quite feminine. I have actually found proof in the Bible that Jesus was transgender, but it requires context. First, I do need to preface this with a tiny little history bit about the Jewish faith, of which Jesus was a part of. Judaism recognized then and still does today that there are 8 genders, not just the 2 that Christianity does, and any one of the other 6 could have been called eunuchs. Let me break this down very quickly for you. Pause here if you want to read them. I will be using more recognized names for them just because I suck at pronouncing stuff like this. So you have your 2 standard models, male and female, 1 and 2. 3, 5, and 7 would be intersex or possessing characteristics of both male and female or naturally transitioning from one sex to another at puberty. Number 4 is non-binary. That's showing characteristics of neither. And 6 and 8 would be transgender, requiring human intervention to transition. The nature thing does happen even today. There's a village in the Dominican Republic that has AFAB children that grow male genitalia at puberty. These are XY children, so they are considered intersex. The link to the article is in the description box below. Jesus spoke of eunuchs, what we now call the LGBTQ community, as such in Matthew 19, 11, and 12. Jesus replied, "Not everyone can accept this word, but only those to whom it has been given. For there are eunuchs who were born that way, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuch by others, and there are those who choose to live like eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. The one who can accept this should accept it." Considering that Jesus had to have been born through parthenogenesis, that no male genetic material was used in his creation, so no Y chromosome. Now, I could argue he was transformed or transitioned in the womb theory, but I don't think that happened. I think Jesus was born AFAB, but identified as a man. His heavenly Father knew that Jesus would identify this way, which is why Jesus was always referred to as a man. We believe that Jesus always had a female body, but changed what he could and covered the rest from everyone except those closest to him. He lived his life as a man. The book of John talks about the Apostle John's experience with Jesus, including the crucifixion. John 13, 23 through 25. Now there was, leaning on Jesus' bosom, one of his disciples, whom Jesus loved. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask who it was of whom he spoke. Then, leaning back on Jesus' breast, he said to him, "Lord, who is it?" This is in reference to Judas Iscariot, and yes, John was cuddling with Jesus. John 19:25 through 27. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother there, and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to her, "Woman, here is your son." And to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, this disciple took her into his home. A special request made to a special person. Jesus gave John the responsibility of caring for his mother Mary, but by all rights, this should have fallen to James, Jesus' brother, not one of his friends. John 20:1 and 2. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." As you can tell, there is a very special relationship between John the Apostle and Jesus. This is a man who was held in very high regard by Jesus, as this man held Jesus in such a regard. This is also the man who wrote the book of Revelation. Thus, I don't believe that a mistake like this would have been made. What I'm going to show you was intentional, not a whoopsie. Now, for the proof that you've been sitting here this whole time waiting for, this screenshot here is Revelation chapter 1, verse 13, and I've circled it in red, where it refers to Jesus' chest as mastos. Revelation 1, chapter 13 says, "And in the midst of the lampstands, one like a son of man, dressed in a long robe and with a gold sash tied high across his chest." English translation. Mastos in the original Greek means breast, feminine. This is where we get words like mastitis or mastectomy from. However, Revelation 15:6 talks about the angel's chest and uses the word stethos. So here's a screenshot of that, and again, I've circled the word stethos for you so that you can see what I'm talking about. Revelation chapter 15 verse 6 reads, "And out of the temple came the 7 angels who had the 7 plagues. They were clothed in linen, clean and bright, wearing golden sashes across their chests." Again, English translation. Stethos is masculine or gender-neutral word for chest, meaning a man's, men, or anyone in general. Stethos is where we get the word stethoscope from. If John was referring to Jesus in masculine form, he would have used stethos, not mastos. He probably did identify as a man. Every account we have says that he did, but keep in mind, much of his life wasn't documented, at least not in the canonical Bible. Now, there are some Gospels that do allude to Jesus' life between the time he went to the temple as a child and then when he began his ministry as an adult, sharing his message of love, kindness, and compassion. Keep in mind that this is after his resurrection and after his ascension. The book of Revelation is a vision of Jesus after he ascended back into heaven, which is why he chose this moment to appear to John in his true feminine form. He visited to give him one last message to each of the churches. I happen to believe that he left us one last message too. Now, I have put a link to both verses of Revelation in the description box, and I've also put a link to the article about the AFAB boys. I'm Elder Eliza with the Church of Light. If you like this video, hit the like button, follow along for more content like this. If you're brave, leave me a comment down below. And as always, blessed be, my friends.